Hey everyone, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Space Saga, available over on Amazon.com. And in today's video, we are talking about the political divide in movie theater screenings. Now, we all know that Democrats and Republicans, left and right, have their differences of opinion, but does that affect how they go to the movies? We'll unpack all this and more in today's video, so check it out. Okay, so this next story I find very interesting. It's from The Hollywood Reporter, and it says, box office, Democrats go to more movies than Republicans. So in this age of divisive political strife and partisanship, we have even more proof of a divide between the political parties. This statistic is part of a 7-year survey released by exit polling service PostTrak. And for those of you who don't know, PostTrak is an exit polling service that specializes in kind of like polling people after they see a movie to see whether or not it has, hit all the right marks. Democrats go to the movies twice as much as Republicans, a new study finds. The statistic was among many tidbits included in a 7-year survey celebrating the 1,000th movie surveyed by industry leader PostTrak, an exit polling service founded by Rentrack, now owned by ComScore, and Screen Engine. And ComScore, I believe, is the company that does the cinema score stuff for movies. Everyone likes to point out that The Last Jedi received an A+ cinema score, so it must be good, but then they don't really understand that cinema score is just a measure of how effective a movie's marketing was, not how good a movie is. Mm-hmm. During that time period, Democrats frequented the movies far more than Republicans, or 12.4% versus 5.5%. Ditto for independents at 7.2%. The same also held true for ticket buyers who identified themselves as liberal and conservative, 10.1% versus 5%. Nearly 10% of moviegoers didn't state their political affiliation. The PostTrak survey, touching on everything from streaming preferences to demo breakdowns to religious affiliation, includes information drawn from 1.25 million interviews. PostTrak has found that the most prevalent genre is drama, while the highest rated genre is adventure. Interestingly, audiences are the most generous in their responses in November, home to the Thanksgiving holiday, and the harshest in January. Nearly 25% of consumers polled over the years see 3 movies in a 2-month period, conforming to the frequent moviegoers' fuel of the box office. In terms of age breakdown, 2019 mirrors other years so far, in that consumers between the ages of 18 and 34 are the biggest movie-going demo at 27%, followed by the ages 25 to 34, 23%. For the full 7 years, the breakdown is 25% and 20% respectively. Then it goes on to a few more demographic things here, which we really don't need to talk about. But this is an interesting politics and religion graph, which we can see politically liberal and Democrat people are the highest amount of moviegoers versus no party affiliation. But Christians make up the biggest demographic here at 13.3%. Which is very interesting. So what I would like to do before we get into this is welcome Ruin the Man Baby Johnson.
Hello there, man babies. How are we doing this evening?
Welcome, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for coming on my stream. I hope you subvert our expectations and ruin it appropriately.
Always up for a good bit of a ruination. How's my man Jay?
I'm awesome, brother.
And Stephen, good to see you. I can see. Well, I can't see Stephen. He's always hiding, but I know he's there. Those dulcet tones of Mr. Wayne.
What's up, Ruin?
Stephen Wayne's doing? He's like Captain Phasma. He always hides behind anonymity.
That's maybe the worst insult I've heard today. And hello to all the man babies in the chat room. Hello, and congrats, Matthew. You're now a fully fledged streamer. You're doing such a great job. I was on your podcast. Keep it up.
Yes. For those of you who haven't seen the Roundtable Review podcast with Ruin Johnson and we took a look at Goonies, and that's available over on my channel if you want to check it out. It was a lot of fun. But Ruin, what I want to know is, What do you think of this divide with more Democrats and liberals going to see movies than Republicans and conservatives?
I'm discarding the Ruin character, if you don't mind, because I've got a beer and
No,
I can't drink beer through the mask.
Anthony Ergo, where did you come from?
Hey, what?
From god awful director to mediocre author. There we go. Yeah, wow. I didn't expect to come on and talk about this. You talk about porn, now you're talking about politics, religion, and movie. Go, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, we cover the gamut here on the Legion of Doom.
So I don't get how political persuasion has anything to do. Well, I do in a way because of the amount of politics we get in modern movies, but I don't know why more Democrats would go than Republicans. So I've got to try and line this up because over in the UK we have like left and right. It's Conservative and Labour, but we're all over the place at the moment. There's a lot of crap going
Labour
down.
is like liberal Democrat out here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, there's a weird thing at the moment. We've moved from, I don't want to get too much into UK politics, but we've moved from like 2-party politics to 4-party politics. So
the
huge,
Brexit Party, and
that's the one.
The Brexit Party is probably closer to the politically conservative movement out here. So
I can answer this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Younger people will always identify themselves as Democrat.
There you go.
College students always, even when they don't believe that what the Democrats stand for.
Right.
They just, I mean, at the school, I work for, everyone's a Democrat. All the kids are Democrat. They don't even vote. They're but they just consider themselves that. It's a pop culture thing to do, to follow their favorite actors, hip hop stars and everything else is to go that liberal nonsense. It's when they start paying taxes, they go, right. Yeah, I need to change my affiliation or anything like that. So a lot of young people go to the movies. A lot of young people see a lot of trash movies that I wouldn't pay to go see. They'll just go see it. Just because I hear about it in the school. All of us went and saw this movie. I was like, did you like it? No, it was dumb, but we went anyway. It was just a way for them to get out of the house. So if they're polling when people are leaving the films, it wouldn't surprise me that the majority of the younger people would just say that they're Democrat, even if they're Christian, even if they're whatever. It just wouldn't surprise me,
right?
Whatsoever.
Stephen, what do you think is the reason of this divide?
Yeah, no, I think Jay hit the nail on the head. That's when I was younger, I used to go to the movies all the time, and if you asked me then what I would have said Democrat. But like you said, once I got a job and started paying taxes, things started to change, Plus, I don't go to the movies as much anymore. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Well, another interesting factor that we might be ignoring is that a lot of Republicans and conservatives don't like the political messaging that Hollywood's been putting out. And so in protest, they're just not going to see the movies because they're not interested in being preached to for something that they don't believe in. Which also kind of feeds into this vicious cycle of Hollywood being like, well, we don't have to cater to Republicans and conservatives because they don't see our movies. So we want to cater to our primary crowd, which might be one of the reasons why we're seeing so many female reboots and SJW casting choices and stuff like that. Ruin, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely some truth in the kind of the age divide thing. Not to stray too far from it because there is a natural link between them, but we see it over here in comedy as well. So probably 90 to 95% of comedy shows or comedians are left wing, which is weird when really it's almost like a 50-50 balance. So that's obviously filtered into movies as well, and yeah, definitely the age thing is there. But can we not just get politics out of movies? I know there's some movies naturally which will, require to delve into, certain areas of politics, but, the kind of, the geek culture stuff, the superhero movies, Star Wars, I don't know about you guys, but I go to get away from all that crap. I've got friends, I've got family who every time I see my dad, we have a head to head on politics, in good spirits, but you know, I've got friends. I was out with friends the weekend. Again, totally different points of view, but we're friends, we're family. You know, we can put it to one side. And if there's one place you can go, it's in that big dark room and watch the big screen and just get away from all that crap for a couple of hours. And now it's filtering in to the movies we love, and it's disappointing.
Jay, I wanted to ask you about this. So one of the more interesting things about this survey here is that people who are religious, like they go to church weekly, they consider themselves Christian, seem to go to a lot of movies. What do you think about that? Especially considering that Democrats and politically liberal people don't consider themselves to be particularly religious.
Because religious people don't really go to the bars and hang out. They don't really go to a lot of other, I guess you'd say, like adult things that other adults would probably do. So they probably won't spend a lot of their money going to different things here and there. So they'll just go to the movies. That's a way to go out with the family and spend time together, you know, as a family. That's why I think like these reboots and all that stuff, there was no doubt in my mind they were going to do well, no matter whether they were boring or not. It was just a way that I could take my kids and they'll enjoy it if I hate it or not. And that's a good time. That's like 2 hours. And then I'm ready to, you know, then you're ready to go. So living next to Orlando, you know, taking a family to Disney World will cost you a couple $1,000s, and the movies won't. Also, you know, you're not going to take your kids to the, you know, out to the strip club or adult club or to the bar or anything like that. So a lot of religious families probably just end up doing that, going to the movies together. I know, like with the youth groups and stuff around here, they do youth group trips to the movies all the time. So just one of them things, something to do.
It is interesting because people who are very focused on religion tend to be very family oriented. And so like they probably go to the movies quite often to see like, you know, kids films and things like that. Another interesting thing to consider might be, you know, just dating. A lot of very religious people, like when they go out on dates, like you said, they don't like to go out to the bars or do anything crazy. So a movie is like a nice, safe kind of venue with which to, you know, kind of go on a date.
I mean, just for an example, in this area that I'm at, they have like I love playing golf. I like playing mini golf. I play in mini golf tournaments for like big bucks. All right, just to show you how ridiculously stupid I am as a person. But they like the mini golf courses and all the stuff over here. They have like Christian night. You know, the bowling alleys. It's like go bowling and go to a movie. It's like Tuesday nights is Christian night. They'll play Christian music and so they cater to that stuff here in Orlando because they know that and Christians pack it out, man. I mean, they pack it. That's like the most busiest night I think I've ever seen some of these places. So it's definitely something. And even like some of the movie theaters, they'll have like you know, they'll offer like specials to like church groups and youth groups and stuff like that. So you know,
you guys remember Passion of the Christ, the Mel Gibson movie about Jesus?
Yeah.
And
that wasn't really a youth group worthy film.
Well, the interesting thing
terrible
about that
date movie as well.
Terrible date movie. But the interesting thing about that movie was that its massive success was geared entirely around the church population. So like they would show the movie in these mega churches where the entire congregation would get together and watch this movie, and then they'd go and see it in the theater to kind of support it, you know, like financially and stuff like that. So, you know, the church crowd is very, you know, kind of centered around like this type of, you know, like box office and stuff. Right. I do find it interesting that Republicans and conservatives, by and large, kind of like sit out of the movie theater.
I'm telling you, when you walk out of the theater and someone's got a survey and they say, "Are you Republican or Democrat?" People will say Democrat because they don't want to deal with it. Like the younger people, I'm telling you.
Well, there's that too. But Stephen, I want to get your opinion on this because Jay actually mentioned earlier that, you know, he's got like the home theater set up. A lot of Republicans and conservatives are very career oriented, so they have jobs and like they don't like to go out at night, and they got more disposable income to kind of buy these like fancy theater setups. Yeah. So like, you know, they may watch way more movies than Democrats, but they do it at home. What do you think about that theory?
Yeah, you might be onto something there. I think, yeah, I never really thought about it being a split between Democrats and Republicans. I think of it more of like the age group. You know, I see a lot of young people go to the movies, not so many older people go. But then I think people who are older tend to be Republicans. So I think there's kind of there's a ratio right there, you know? So
Yeah.
it kind of goes hand in hand, you know?
All right, so that was an interesting little political aside. But now let's talk about.
Can I make one observation before we move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a really interesting. I might have read it wrong. I don't know if you can get that chart back up again, but on the breakdown of different religions, yeah, there it is. So you've got on the far right, you've got Church Weekly, and then next to it, very religious. I'd say Church Weekly is very religious, but it's I mean, what's very religious? Like everyday church, or is it? Oh God, wow, that's an interesting.
Well, I mean,
breakdown.
there are people who just go to church, and that's like their obligation to their religion for the week. Then there are people who actually volunteer at their churches and do like church activities and
more than
do Bible study and charity work and stuff like that. So I know when I was growing up, I was the Church Weekly type because my mom would drag us to church every Sunday, even though I wouldn't have considered my family very religious. So I think that's a distinction there.
Oh, okay.
But it is interesting how this is like grayed out. Like, oh, this isn't important.
Yeah.
This is the important stuff.
Doesn't warrant color.
Yeah. Thank you for watching this video. For more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time a new video is posted. And follow me on the socials. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel, check out my books over on Amazon.com. You can go to Kadish Books, KADISHbooks.com, and go right to my Amazon profile and see the kind of things I offer there. Anyway, guys, this is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you in the next video.